and welcome to the LNUR Line. It has been a bit of a gap, so this is episode 20, we think, and it's all about the Brick Train Awards 2022. We're about halfway through now, about halfway through September, and it hopefully will be about halfway through by the time this is published. So let's introduce some members who we're going to be talking with today. We have, let's start at the top, so Luke.
Hello.
Micah.
Hello.
Rory.
Hello.
John.
Hello.
Levi.
Hello.
Miller. Renzo.
Hello.
Trace.
Howdy.
And Henry.
Hello.
Excellent. So we will mostly be talking about Brick Train Awards in this podcast, but we've got some news because apparently it's been about 4 months since we last did a podcast somehow. So to introduce news, we've got Trace, who's going to talk about the Octramber event with Brick Model Railroader.
Yeah, in case everyone wasn't through entering an award competition in the fall, with Brick Train Awards wrapping up in September, Octramber is going to come around for October, and they've done a lot of different changes for it this time around. Brick Model Railroader has. It looks like they're going with a theme of rebuilt or retrofitted. And what they're asking for is 2 separate models. One to show what the original intended railroad equipment was for, and then what it has been rebuilt or retrofitted for. And they've really opened up to a lot of versatile ways to enter the competition this year. You can either do a brick-built version of both types, the before and after, a digital version of both before and after, one in Lego, one in digital, or you can build it first, photograph it as it is, and then modify the current model and take a photo of it as it's been altered. So with that kind of versatility, it works out really well. The rules are as they've been for years past, where it's everything must be original, there's no stealing, 1 entry per person per category. Third-party parts are allowed, but clone bricks are not. You can choose whatever scale you want to build in, which is great. Only new builds as of this year, nothing that you've built in years prior. They must be made on the Flickr group. There isn't an email to send it to. You have to add it directly to their page. They will be accepting entries from midnight on the 1st of September, which is already passed, to midnight of the 1st of November, meaning Halloween Eve. So yeah, if anyone's looking forward to participate in Octramber, go check out BMR's home website. Just get the down and dirty on what the details are so that you make sure you're participating correctly.
Thank you, Trace. That was really good. And now, probably not good. Miller, would you like to tell us about a new Swiss Lego compatible track seller?
If I have to. It's called MOBA Bricks, if I've clicked on the right link that I was given 2 minutes ago and I've got to pretend I know about. It looks okay from the quick glance I've looked at. There's plenty of choice, double slip switches, straight rails, points, as well as switches, if you don't know what switches are. All sorts of different curve radiuses, and yeah, looks all right.
Is it standard Lego gauge or?
It looks
different?
It looks like a copy. It looks like an identical copy, but obviously different.
Presumably,
sizes
it's only worth buying then if it's actually cheaper than standard Lego.
If it's cheaper, and if you don't live in a country that decided that they hate living in Europe.
Renzo's doing a dance in the background now.
Yeah, or if you've got like your club resident Lego smuggler, then you're okay.
Fair enough.
Ironic that, you know, that from Holland the only thing he smuggles isn't something else. Moving on.
Moving on very swiftly. Thanks, Miller. Well, since we've last done a podcast, it's not that new anymore, but there's the new loop coaster. So Henry is going to cover that one for us.
Yes, so this new loop coaster is set number 10303. It's in the new Lego Icons section which you can't get to from themes on the Lego page. It was really annoying 3 minutes ago trying to find it to talk about it. It's £344.99 in the UK, and it has 3,756 pieces. I haven't got it, nor have I seen it, so I have no idea about anything else about it. Does anyone else have anything to say about it?
I've
much.
seen it running, and it's really cool.
Big.
It's a really cool set. It's on my list. It's quite reliable, actually. I was really surprised because the other coaster I built didn't travel particularly well, and once it had been moved, it did not like working much. So this one looks pretty good. It's on my list. Okay, thank you, Henry. Let's move on. Next news thing is, the next two things are for Luke. So there's some new products from Trickspring. Aren't track for change.
Yes, no tracks, no ballast. Instead, we got tiles, lovely printed tiles. So I may have missed one or two out, but with all the research I have done, I can find 4 new items. The first are these 1x4 tiles with white and red squares. Good for the level crossing barriers, for signals. There's a couple of good versatile uses for these pieces. It would definitely save the hassle of getting a bunch of 1x1 red and white tiles to kind of individually put them on these plates. It also helps the fact that this is a 1x4 as well, so you can connect a few more parts together, make things less fragile. It's pretty good to see that something like this is finally becoming a thing. It's not something that I don't think many people have really kind of asked for, so to say, but the fact that this now exists will definitely pick up the attention of a lot of builders. The next one is for a lot of people that I reckon have been asking for, is a selection of 1x1 and 1x4 reddish brown wooden grain printed tiles, and these are sold in packs of 100. So there are Lego tiles out there in a lighter brown tan color, I suppose. I remember seeing them as a 1x3 though, so they weren't the most convenient things ever. But they've introduced this 1x4 reddish brown tile with some lovely printing on them, and it creates a beautiful detailed look for wooden sleepers on your railways. Now, I am personally not going to be able to go for this because I chose for a different color, but I do know for a fact that the reddish brown color is probably the most popular color choice for sleepers on track. And the fact that they are selling 1x4s and 1x1s is excellent because they haven't just thought about doing one, they've done both. And there's definitely an opportunity kind of to flip around the tiles to kind of make it not look so uniform. It's like a natural looking piece of wood. It's just not like a few straight lines. Oh, it's wood. No, there's a bit more texture to it. And a few sort of newer ones, so to say. This is something I definitely discovered recently. Are these 4x8 sort of station packs? So these billboard sort of printed tile packs. There's one for a subway, looks at Miller, and one for a central station platform. And these are pretty good as well because this is definitely something you would see a lot of when it comes to station details anyways. It saves having to use some of those awful sticker pieces that you get from like city train sets. It's definitely a lot more detailed as well compared to people having to kind of go through their own. So again, the fact that something like this does exist and is now readily available in a lot of in a higher quantity, I should say, is very convenient. I also love the fact that again, there's a subway version of this and a central station version of this. They're kind of generic, and the subway version that I'm looking at now kind of has its own track plan, but that doesn't necessarily mean it has to fit any particular subway layout. So yeah, all of these printed tiles, it's something that we didn't expect, but at the same time, seeing all of these come out, there are a lot of people are going to be happy with this.
Okay, thanks, Luke. And you can also just flow into the next topic you've got as well.
Okay. So recently, I got myself the new Ultimate Collector Series, whatever it's called, the new Hogwarts Express with the massive train wheels. So I remember when the leak first came out and all the hype was there, and it kind of an hour later it kind of died down, and we kind of started to realize what this set actually was. And so many people in the Lego Train fandom were just so upset and disappointed because for a set of this size and for it to cost this much, it should be a train set. They've alienated the train fandom. But they've also gone against the Harry Potter fans as well because they wanted Gringotts. But in order to try and please everyone, they please no one. And that's the phrase that's gone around a lot. But now that I've bought it, I was able to use a lot of VIP points to get a discount. So at the price I pay for it, it's a bit more worth it. But needless to say, £430 is just never going to be worth it. If anybody's selling it on a discount, consider it then. But at the same time, having built it and, you know, I've got it in person, being able to handle it. And again, the process of building it was great fun. It was very interesting to see some of the details and some of the methods they used to put some of the parts together, the way they've accomplished certain details. All of the wheels are fixed and rigid to the base, so there's no articulation at all. Again, a lot of people have been focusing on the new massive drive wheels because it's nice to have a new massive wheel size, but everyone is too distracted from the fact that the crank pin is not that close to the center of the wheel. And it's quite jarring to see that massive rotation of the side wheel when it's in motion. You can remove it from a few bricks to kind of move it across the display track, but that's pretty much it. It was purposefully built to 5-wide track because that is basically gauge 1 track. And again, I saw an interview or an article somewhere where Lego basically said, yes, that was on purpose. So that was neat that they kind of took that extra direction to make it a bit more special. But again, it was the wrong decision to make. They've alienated so many people. It's too expensive. Having it in person, it's lovely, but it's simply just not what it should have been. It really should have been something different.
Okay, thank you, Luke. I think Will's got it as well, so I'm
Yeah,
sure
he
we'll
did.
hear his opinion at some point.
Yeah, he's going to be modifying his one soon, I think, as well. So that'd be interesting to see what he does.
He can never leave Lego train sets alone. He always has to modify them somehow.
Yeah.
Okay, we can move on. So we have a little bit of information discussion about the Brick Train Awards 2022 so far, and then we're going to move on to a kind of freer member discussion of the awards and what we think of them so far. So just a reminder that all entries need to go through the website. So if you want to enter, it is free. You can submit 3 models per category, and there are 15 categories. You can submit 3 models per category, but it needs to be through the website bricktrainawards.com. Entries close at midnight on the 30th of September in your time zone. So you've got about 2 weeks, just over 2 weeks at the moment to do that. The awards are sponsored by TrixBricks. So the 15 global winners of the 15 categories are going to get $200 US prize voucher from TrixBricks. And also we've got Ben from Train Bricks has kindly agreed to donate some vouchers, I think for about $50 US for the winners of the Steam Train Loco Award. Okay, we now have a reminder of those 15 categories from Rory.
Yes, so as Richard said, 15 categories. There's some few changes from last year, so they're just to make things a little bit better. So the first category is the public vote. So this is basically taking into account all of the likes received on the various Brick Train Awards, social media platforms, Instagram, Twitter, and things like that. And then it'll be added up and a winner found. Moving on, the next one, this is a new for this year, is the best consist or full train. So this is for people that create full trains, whether that's a multiple unit or a locomotive with specific rolling stock, and it's for the whole model as one that goes into this category. We then have the locomotive categories. These are split into steam, diesel, and electric. These are all for brick built models, and they're split into that and will be awarded like that. We also have best other locomotive model. This is for things that aren't in standard Lego L gauge. So things might be narrow gauge or things that are built in greater scales, such as the Hogwarts Express, as I mentioned. Obviously, you can't submit that as a Lego set. Then, as well as the brick built categories, there is also the digital locomotive category. So this is specifically for people that build digitally and use renders, as the techniques building are slightly different and the parts used is slightly different. So it's a category really so you can compete against people doing the specific thing that you are. We've then got wagon categories. These are split into passenger wagons. So these can be anything that carries passengers, buffets, car, dining car, observation cars, those sort of things, and also just standard passenger wagons. Then we have freight, so anything that is not basically not passenger carrying any goods. So open wagons, boxcars, tankers, anything like that, really. We then have special wagons. So these are basically anything that doesn't fit into the other two categories. So these could be cabooses, brake vans, maintenance of way vehicles, snowplows, anything like that really that doesn't quite fit into the other two categories. Once again, there is a digital category for wagons for the same reasons as before. So purely for people that build digitally and use renders and things like that. We've then got a series of TFOL categories. These are for teenage fans of Lego. So these are people that are 13 to 18. The categories here are for best locomotive, best wagon, and best display. These are only available for the category for the age ranges specified. And then the final category is best group or individual display. So this is a global winner only. So this is just one category here, and it's for any railway themed display. It can be made as a collaboration as a group or individual together. And that is all 15 categories.
Thank you, Rory. I think you summed that up better than I probably could have done. So thank you for that. So the awards, we're recording this on the 14th of September, 2022. So far, we've approved 243 entries. We've had a couple rejected for various reasons. And Henry, as you might expect, is going to do some maths facts for us. So you can skip for the next 5 or 10 minutes unless you really are interested in maths facts.
He's wrong. You can't skip the next 5 or 10 minutes. They're the most crucial part of the entire podcast. If you skip the maths, you might as well just not watch the podcast. Honestly. Anyway, so we have had 17,812 visits to the page from 2,113 unique visitors, which averages out at 8.43 visits per visitor, which that's fairly good, and that's a good number of visitors, and it's a little less than 10 times the number of entries. In terms of the hits, I believe this is on social media. We've had, well, most of them have come from the US and the UK, which is quite interesting that it's the UK is so highly represented. But we have, in terms of hits per population, Portugal has the highest with 0.028% of the population having had a hit on the page, and but the most page views has come from the UK per capita at 0.0079, which means that very much less than 1% of the British population has viewed it. Not really sure why that's relevant, but it's interesting. I found it interesting. So the most entered category so far is best digital loco with 33 entries. The new category of best consist / full train has got 32 entries, which is very good. And there's some very interesting ones entered in there. The least popular category currently is best TFOL with, I think it was best TFOL group or individual display at 5 entries so far. And yeah, that's the maths. If anyone would like more maths, please message LNUR on any socials to ask for more maths in podcasts.
Yeah, I can predict exactly 0 messages for that one. Okay, so that's about it for info about the event so far. Hopefully, at least some of the maths facts were interesting, if not entirely relevant. And do keep submitting through the website. We have had a couple of issues with it, but we've ironed that out. And there was quite a big backlog of entries to post on social media, but I think we're up to date with that now. I did 100 and something yesterday morning. So there's not currently a backlog, as far as I know.
Yes, I can confirm there is no backlog.
Yeah. Okay, so we can move on to topic discussion about Brick Train Awards 2022 now. So we'll open it up with a question. Maybe if members could put their hands up on video, even though this is an audio podcast, we're doing it on Zoom, which was great fun. First question we have, and we can open up to questions a bit later on, but the first question is for favorite models so far that you've seen submitted. So anyone want to wave at the screen and unmute? Miller is waving manically at the screen.
I saw a Gronk.
Of
I knew
course
that.
you
There was
did.
quite a good
Of course.
12-volt style one, actually.
It was a black one. That's the one.
The black Gronk. Yep. Okay.
It looked lovely. That is all.
Micah, did you have a favorite model so far, other than the
Um,
ones you submitted? I think.
Oh, well, that's not my favorite. Of course, Chris's is a Gronk, but I think Brooklyn Bricks has a really good hush hush model. It is very detailed, and I really love it. It's amazing.
I didn't see that because that must mean that somebody else processed it and put it on the website and stuff. So I'll have to go back. I managed to miss that, but yeah, I can imagine his stuff is pretty good.
I agree. It's a great model. I hate that it could win. That'd be 2 in a row where we got a hush hush.
Oh no. Oh, see, the other model I really like is Trace's King, because that's a very detailed model.
Oh, I'm glad you brought that up. I love that model. I think it's a great,
It's very nice. Yeah.
strong entry this year.
Self-promotion.
A lot of
I think in its digital locomotives, or maybe the T4 loco category, there's also another GWR King class loco there
Oh
somewhere.
yeah, by Seth Bricks.
that's great. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, that was really nice as well. I spotted that, and I had to double check that Trace hadn't submitted his twice. Um,
How dare you? I'm doing. Oh, you know what model I saw that I really liked? There was that. Oh, I'm gonna get it wrong. I'm gonna call it a Sterling single, and I know that's not what it is. There's that big, large drive-wheeled single. I think it's called Wood
Luke's.
by Bike PT. It's a huge. What gauge is that? It looks enormous, but I love the techniques used in order to get that wheel arch.
Oh, is it the Adler? Which is
Yes, it is the Adler. Thank you.
yeah.
Very much.
I put it in the. It's a really good model. I had it in the wrong category because from the first photo angle, I couldn't quite see that it was. Firstly, I thought it was a render because the photography, they'd done a really good job of cropping out the background.
Yeah.
And also I got the gauge wrong and it was in the wrong category many times. Okay, I think we can move. Henry had something to say, and then John.
Yes, so one entry I really like is the Tiny Twains CP1400, which was entered by a builder as a tiny version of one of their regular locos that I believe was entered into best either diesel or electric. I don't know
I think it's
which
these,
one it
but
is.
yes, that
yeah,
that was a nice
That
one.
one. I really like that one because I've also done some trains at the same sort of scale.
Mm-hmm.
Some baby trains.
Baby trains. Yep,
Baby,
any
yep.
trains are good. Okay, thanks, Henry. John.
Yeah, I'm assuming this was actually an entry because I've seen it on Eurobricks and I'm pretty sure I remember it being an entry. It's the 12-volt Riverport. It's a kind of like a layout, complete layout.
Yes, I think that's. I'm struggling to remember the builder's name at the moment.
Holger something.
Yeah.
Holger?
Yes. Yeah. Yes, he did enter that. I processed that one myself. That's really nice. And I think didn't one of his displays, the Roundhouse 12-volt Roundhouse, won something last year? I think.
Yeah,
I've lost track of it.
Rings a bell.
Yeah, that's
What I
a really
really
nice
like-
one.
Yeah, what I really like about it is I think it's not gone overboard in terms of the size, and it's actually got some really neat kind of features like the auto uncouplers, like the rotating turntables, and it all seems to kind of gel with the Lego medium of using that to build a model display. It kind of works really well from my perspective because it's not trying to be something it's not, if you know what I mean. And it kind of, I don't know, just gels together.
It's really nice. And of course, the best thing about it is it has loose ballast, which everybody knows is the best type of ballast. There's a lot of people shaking their head now. Hmm.
I really appreciate the industrialism that's going into those background buildings. There's a lot of fun shapes that stand out really well, so it's such a dynamic skyline to have.
Yeah, it is a really nice display. And actually, there's a lot of, the displays started off a little bit quiet entry-wise, but now, and of course, you can view all of the entries for the Brick Train Awards this year on the website by category. And the displays, there's some really nice ones again. I don't know why I'm surprised, because every year there's some nice models in every category. Do we have anyone else? Trace?
Yo, so I just passed this. I saw this the other day too. The entry for the best digital wagon, and it's that ABT system funicular railway.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah,
Adult-
that's really nice.
Oh, yeah.
So good. The
Ooh.
angle looks so great, and it's a nice use of slopes while maintaining dimension.
I did struggle over which category it should be in, but as it's not, it's presumably gravity powered, and they fill water tanks like most funicular railways seem to work. So it ended up in the digital wagon category. It was a bit of an odd. I hadn't really thought about someone entering something like that when we thought of the categories, but yeah, it's really cool. It's a really
No,
nice,
There.
unusual. It's also yellow, which appeals to me. I'm glad I'm not judging this year. Luke, I think you've got your hand up. Yep.
So there are a few entries that have stood out to me based on what I build. Just to quickly talk about that single earlier, I think I found the one you were on about. It might be a different entry altogether. There's the Dean Louise Royal Locomotive by Mike PT. It's not built to normal track. It's in the best steam locomotive category. It's obviously one of those, this will take up an entire display table at a show sort of model. Like the giant Flying Scotsman that was at Steam Museum a few years ago, and the person who was it that built the giant Stephenson's rocket locomotive in one of the earliest episodes of the podcast. It's like that sort of scale, basically. That sort of massive scale.
Oh, is that Steve May's rocket?
Yeah,
His
so
various scale one.
yeah. It's basically, well, this particular entry is basically on that sort of giant scale. That's definitely something that's a lot of people can appreciate, because it's something that takes a lot of time, patience, and skill to be able to make. Other ones for me, first of all, for best entry for best consist is the 1941 San. Oh, good lord, how do I pronounce this? Joaquin Daylight by Zephyr 1934.
Oh, that was
It's
nice. Yeah.
just a nice long rake of coaches. And as someone who has a 10-coach express as well, I saw this and instantly kind of got mesmerized by it. That's just wonderful, absolutely wonderful. Another one as well is one I'm amazed is still around, is The Mercury by Court Christopher. And this is a model I discovered on Flickr maybe not too long ago, but it's one of the most iconic streamlined locomotives ever. It has such a beautiful shape, the rounded edges, it's just so perfect. It captures the shape of the locomotive so spot on. And because I've made a number of streamlined tender engines, again, this is another model that I've looked at and just kind of gone head over heels for. There are a few other ones, but just to make sure I'm not hogging up too much time. One for the best T-foil locomotive is the Santa Fe Blue Goose by Elijah Stewart. And this pops out to me because I am currently making my own version. A slightly different livery and a bit of a different scale by the looks of the kind of wheel details, but all the same, it really is a fascinating shape. It's a different streamlined design. And again, seeing his method of using all these chrome bricks instead of cheating like I did where I used lining, it's again just something that's come together really well. And to see this model from a T-foal, I will genuinely be amazed if he doesn't win, or at least isn't in contention, because again, it's just something that really gravitates me towards this model. Beautiful stuff.
Thank you, Luke. Yeah, I think that was pretty good. The T-fold stuff is really good. And actually, I have to check when people enter if they've put T-fold. Some of the models are so good that I don't think it could possibly
Yeah,
be
it
that.
really does make this kind of sketchiness as if, I mean, there's no way a teenager made that. There's definitely been that sort
Yeah,
of time.
the quality is, as ever, really good for the T-folds and most categories as well. Okay, so our next question for discussion is favorite category, and perhaps I think we've covered this a little bit already, so we don't need to spend too much time on this, but anybody with a hands up want to talk about their favorite category because we have changed them around. Chris was first, I think, and then Mike.
Yeah. Is my microphone on?
Yes.
Ah, good. My favourite is the underground category.
I could have predicted that. Yeah, should not have gone to Miller. Okay, thanks, Miller. Do you have an actual favorite category, or no? That was it.
Diesel? Is there a diesel one? Diesel.
There is a diesel one.
Diesel.
Okay, there we go. Right. Micah.
Best consist. It has to be the best consist. So many interesting combinations with the best consist there are. So, for instance, I did like Southampton Docks, like a couple of
That's
plank
really
wagons
cool,
in a brake van. Trace, you did like Great Western Railway. And I've seen like Luke do with the rocket coaches. So yeah, it's just lovely to see all these.
I think that's probably my favorite category too. The kind of best consist slash, it's got a bit of a clunky name, best consist slash full train. And also multiple units are going in that one at the moment. And I like it because I think we'd kind of overlooked it. We were getting a lot of like best electric locos. A lot of them are multiple units and they weren't getting the attention, or we were putting too much emphasis on looking at the locomotive or the carriages or something, rather than looking at something that is impressive altogether. So yeah, I think that's a really good one. Luke has his hand up next. So favorite category, Luke?
I think everyone is going to mention best consist because that really does have an opportunity to shine. But amongst all of the very samey categories we've had previously, one that I think I mentioned when we did the LUKR awards is the potential for other locomotives. So best other locomotive is one that I'm trying to keep an eye out for, because I remember seeing a model that had I don't know, it was like a tram, for example. Again, I'm not remembering completely correctly, but it had like rocket boosters underneath, like a sci-fi take on a today train. Again, something so out there and wacky and not realistic, but it has a spot to be able to enter the competition. So best other locomotive is something that, again, I'm really enjoying and really liking to see the other submissions for.
I think best other locomotive, one I published, I think it was yesterday or today, I can't remember, was a Looney Tunes rocket with Wile E. Coyote and the Roadrunner. That is awesome, and that I love it, and I can imagine the kids going to shows and seeing that would really love it as well. It's just like totally different, and yeah, I really love stuff like that. I think John was next, and then Trace.
Yeah, I'm a bit of an engine tart. I think I'm very. I kind of. I know everyone's looking at the other groups, but my feeling is I'll go back to the model railway days and the enthusiasm you have when, say, Hornby bring out a new engine or a new locomotive. There's something about them that is the train, and I can't get away from that. I quite like the other, the consists and the other models people make, and I fully appreciate them. But for me, the locomotive is the thing. That's what really shines for me as and makes the model. So yeah, I'm a bit old school there.
I think a lot of people are. The locomotive categories are definitely where you're sort of pushing Lego to its limit to achieve the shapes and the motion and things like that. I've just dropped my iPad on the floor. That was brilliant. Yeah, I think obviously diesel locomotives the best category, but other locomotives pretty good as well. I suppose electric's all right, steam fine. Trace is pulling faces at me now. Trace, what's your favorite category?
Well, if we can move past that blasphemy shouted, now that as a participant in the awards, seeing the split between digital and brick built locomotives, I'm appreciating the digital stuff a whole lot more, because it is individuals who don't necessarily have the resources to build their builds. And so like the steam engine category specifically, I'm looking at Seth Brick's LMS Class 6P, the Lancer right now. Like, it's just great. I'm glad that there is a separation of the categories so no one feels slighted, but people can still really sort of tailor their talent into what they want to display. So I'm really having fun looking at the digital stuff. It's just really clean. Renders are nice.
Renders are nice, a lot better than some of the photos we've been getting. I think I like the digital as well because, like you say, it is a bit of a different skill set, and there are people who only build digital locomotives and models, and people who do a mixture of both, and people who only build physical. And actually, I think one of the criticisms we had in the past couple of years was actually digital models were probably getting overlooked in favor of physically built models by the judges, and I think that was probably a fair comment. They probably were. So hopefully we can shine a light on some digital models this year as well, because the quality of those is really good. Any last comments on favorite category before we move on?
Is there an 8 wide category?
No. So all categories. I should have known. Yeah, no, there's not. There's no underground category. There's no 8 wide category.
7 wide.
Ooh. We might try a 7 wide one because that's clearly the best scale. Okay. So we can move on to the next question, and I think I'm going to merge 2 questions I had. So we've made a lot of changes this year to the Brick Train Awards, the categories and the entries. So we're going to ask best change and worst Brick Train Awards 2022. I'll run through a couple of the changes we've made. There probably are others that I'll forget. So one is that we're only doing entries through the website this year, which I was trying to avoid, but actually it's worked out fairly smoothly. Hopefully, I think only one person's really had issues submitting, and I could not work out why. So we've changed some categories. So there's digital categories, as Trace was saying earlier. We still have the TFL categories, and they've been really popular. And I think it's important to recognise teenage Lego fan builders in the hobby as well, because they're going to become AFOLs pretty soon. And also with the digital categories, we've now stopped people entering digital models in the steam, diesel, electric, and other categories. So they should be in the digital loco categories. Same with passenger wagons. So there's a digital wagon category now. So hopefully it's a little bit fairer, I think. And I suppose the other change is we're only giving prizes this year, $200 US vouchers from TrixPrix. So only the 15 global winners win that, unfortunately. I think it's still a really nice prize, but the regional winners, they will get Brick Train Awards winner brick 2022, which I ordered today, actually. But I think that's about all the changes. So Luke has his hand up already, and then we can move on to anyone else. So Luke, what's the best or worst change you think for this year?
I'll try and focus more on the worst change because I think everyone's probably going to agree with the best change being the separation of digital models, just so they have the chance to shine. I think that was basically explained more so earlier. Now, for me personally, this is going to sound, I don't know how many people are going to agree with this, but I think for me at least, the worst change, it was something outside of your control. It was the dates and kind of the time of the year where the awards were happening. Now, for the first year, it was about October again, sort of near the end of the year when they happened. And then the second year last year when they took place, it was very early in February. So
it was February. The first year I actually can't remember, but I think it was maybe October. Yeah.
Yeah, third or fourth quarter. And I suppose with the second year happening in February, I thought, okay, that's going to be the standard. And I think on social media as well, there was a bit of a push where it was going to happen at least early in the year. So the fact that it got kept getting pushed and pushed, because again, people have lives outside of Lego trains, believe it or not. So
no, they
the
don't.
fact that it happened, well, yeah, look at us. But again, this is something that's outside of your control. So the fact that it happened later in this year is a bit sucky, but it makes sense because again, people have lives. But at the
Does
same
it?
time,
Because you can enter models from the past 2 years, does it really matter if there's a 6-month difference in when you can enter?
I mean, kind of, because some models that people have could potentially go out of date by the time the awards take place. And I was definitely in that boat because I was also going to enter my model of Thomas the Tank Engine just because, of all the models I've got, I mean, it'll definitely get some attention, maybe go for public vote. But I think now at this point, or at least by the start of September, it's no longer within that 2-year margin. So it's a bit of a shame there, but at the same time, it's not exactly a submission that people are going to be ashamed of missing out on. But yeah, I think again, ultimately, the worst change for me is just the timing of it. But again, circumstances make sense.
Yeah, I think both Enrico and I, who organise it, and Enrico's got a work event tonight, otherwise he'd be here. February is just a really bad time. I was really busy with work. I think I worked 21 days, basically non-stop with 1 day off. So it just wasn't going to work really. I did cleverly book a holiday for the first 2 weeks of September. So that was also not great. But yeah, it's one of those things. I would like to try and keep it consistent. We did check with Hale from BMR, because obviously it sort of clashes with Octramber, but he was pretty happy for us to run it, and we're trying to promote that a little bit, and he's done a little bit of promotion for the events as well. So I think at least we've got some events in the community. A lot of other Lego communities aren't as active as the Train one. Trace, you're next. So best and worst, or one of each, or just one. Best or worst changes to the awards for 2022.
For sure. I think I'm going to double down on the fact that I think the best change is doing that split. Again, it's just nice to be able to incorporate more content and see more in a vein of fairness. Just again, personal perspective. And then another, not like a big thing. One thing that I'd like to see come back would be the number of entry photos that you can give. Right now, the way that it's formatted, we can give one sort of display image that's posted publicly, and then 3 additional photos max in order to show off what your model is. Which the way that I've been photographing it, it's been like a front, a back, and then an interior. I feel like a lot of the detail, especially on some of like the brick built stuff where you can see a lot of fun stuff like axle boxes and undercarriage work, kind of gets lost in the shuffle if you really don't pick your photos correctly. So maybe bumping that up like 1 or 2 might be good. But other than that, I mean, everything seems to be evolving year to year. And right now the awards are just a really fun time to be had. Grateful that we had this opportunity.
Thank you. Yeah, I think so. I think we used to accept 5 images, and now it's 4 because there's the lead one and the 3 additional images, isn't there? I think that's right. I should know, but I can't remember.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, I cut it down because I was a little bit apprehensive about storage space, even though it's fairly cheap on the server. I just didn't want the website crashing and people uploading loads and loads of really big images. Because on a front end, that's the front end side of the website, that might cause issues as well. It seems to be okay this year, so potentially we could look at adding an extra image next year. I still have to work out what to do with the entries on the website, whether we just clean all of them out for next year, or whether I would like a way of saving them and sort of archiving them so you could go and look at all of the entries from 2022. And all of the entries from 2023 once we do that. But yeah, I've done a little bit of the work on it, but I've also paid a web developer to do it, and I'd spent enough on it basically.
Everyone involved has gone above and beyond. Like doing a public gallery for everything is a great idea, but that's so much investment.
It was something we discussed in the very first year, and I was a bit reticent to do anything like that on the website because I didn't want to be tech support for people trying to submit. But I think the system we've got hasn't had too many issues. It seems to be working pretty well, better than I expected actually. So yeah, I think I probably agree. Maybe more images next year, maybe.
It's not a necessary big change. It's me personally because I overlook at shit. But no, this is great.
It depends how many jars of honey you bring me in October.
Oh man, customs is going to be an honor. All right.
You're going to get cavity searched. That's all I'll say. Okay. Anyone else wants to talk about best and worst changes for the awards this year? Henry has unmuted himself, and presumably that will
Yes.
speak. Okay.
Yes. I do quite like others have said, that the digital category is separated, because I also vaguely remember seeing some complaints last time or the time before that people digitally building were able to get away with just making up colors for parts, or they could get away with things not being possible to actually build, and people complaining about that. So I feel like now they can't complain because it's not in the same category as a physically built model. I do really like the fact that you can still enter the digital models, though. That's very good and important.
Yeah, I think that was probably the best change possibly I've made, except the consist. I'm quite proud of that idea. But yeah, I mean, people suggest different categories and things all the time, but realistically, we're kind of limited by, firstly, the admin, because more categories is more admin, and also it maybe cuts down on the number of entries that we'd get per category. And if you remember Henry's maths facts from last year's podcast, there were some categories, I think, with 1 or 2 or 3 entries in them, and it's just not worth having that category if we have a winner by default. It's not really a fun competition to enter, is it? So that's why we've merged some of the regions, which was another change this year. So Asia and Australasia, because they were a little bit lower on entries in pretty much all categories, we've merged them this year, and I think that's going pretty well. Anyone else before we move on? Renzo's been really quiet.
Which rules have been changed?
It's true.
And he will continue to be quiet.
So the rules that have changed is basically, so we're still 3 entries per category, but it's mostly around categories. So you can't enter digital models in the loco categories now. They have to be in the digital loco category. And yes, a lot of entries we're getting on the website, people definitely haven't read the website, and I'm changing them manually. I was emailing people, but it became so tedious and admin intense to do that basically, if you can't find your model, it's probably in a different category on the website now. So go and read the rules again, and then look on the website and see if you can find it. If not, message us, and we'll check.
That's what you get if you're too lazy to actually build a real model.
Well, you only build subways, which isn't a real model, is it?
I was going to say something really mean, but we're on a podcast, so I won't.
It's a box with wheels. It's multiple boxes with wheels.
Levi can just edit it out.
Okay, so final question, if nobody else has a best or worst change at the moment, and then we can open up to some member questions and then wrap the podcast up. So nobody wants to go? Nope. So final question, what would you do with $200 from Tricks Bricks if you won a prize? Micah looks very keen to answer this. Buy all of the track.
Expand my layout so that way I can have a wider curves for my locomotives. That's what I would do, and I would buy all the Tricks Bricks track, make it interesting, other than a loop with like 2 sidings.
Cool. And they do have a lot more products these days. You could just buy more sleepers or something to build a layout or something like that. It probably does go a long way. It does need to include shipping unless you want to pay a bit extra. But yeah, I think it's really generous of Tricks.
Yeah, I don't know if they ship over to the US, but I'll find a way.
I think they do. They pretty much ship everywhere.
They do now?
Leave it.
I can't see who's talking actually, but
Say that again, Trace.
I was just saying, you better believe they ship to the US. I have made many a purchase.
How was the shipping cost then?
Yes, they do ship to the US. It is 3 to 5 days with UPS Express, or 14 days budget shipping. It's possible to send. Oh no, that's Russia. Actual shipping.
Yeah, let's stop there.
Okay, I don't think we need to go down that rabbit hole really. So I can see John and Trace are waiting. So what would you spend the money on, John?
Well, as plastic track is a product of the devil, I would.
You're a product of the devil.
I would choose something that's going to enhance the real metal clad track of the 9-volt real.
So plastic track then.
No, I'd go for the wood effect sleepers. I think that's a great product they've introduced. Unfortunately, I've already started buying the reddish brown. I'll break one off here. No, I can't do it. It's too firm, but there's a little one there. I've already started on collecting those in large numbers. So for me to change now is a bit of a expensive choice. But if I had $200, it would sway me, I think.
You might lower yourself to some plastic tracking sleepers. Okay. Thank you, John. Trace, you were next, and then Miller.
Yeah, with $200 in Trix bricks, I think I might have to start investing in narrow gauge.
Ooh, good
I've
pick.
exhausted all their different switch options, and I've tried their made ballast. I think narrow gauge is the next step, something to try differently.
Yeah, I still have some narrow gauge that will eventually become a layout point, but I've been saying that for about 2 years, so we'll see.
Yeah.
Jamie,
Fun to dream, fun to pretend.
Jamie
It's
might
true.
fight you on that, but we'll see. I would love to see you build narrow gauge though, Trace. That would be very interesting.
Oh, that's nice. Let's pretend. We'll see what happens.
Who do we have next? We have, Renzo. Let's go for Renzo.
Isn't it the Trix bricks also released those plates to make a tram line disappear in the?
Yes, they did. Yeah, they've got the
Yeah.
sort of.
I really would love to build a tram track kind of thing and use it on that, and also the narrow gauge. What Trace is telling, that's also something that's.
I think the sort of tram paving is a really good idea, but I would like it in light grey. I think it only comes in this kind of dark bluish grey, doesn't it?
No, I believe it is only in light
Let's have a
bluish grey.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it certainly looks to be light bluish grey. And
Okay.
it's very much, that's light bluish grey. There's no way it isn't.
Okay, thanks, Henry. Thanks, Renzo. To Henry, you have your hand up.
Yes.
Oh,
So,
Miller.
yeah, so I would get probably just some R104 points and probably a double slip. Basically, assorted tracks so that I can use it on my upcoming shunting layout, and there'd probably the ballast plates for them, and then there'd probably be a bit of money left to save for future shunting layouts, like the one involving the coal hoppers.
Oh,
Plus,
yeah, okay.
hopefully, they'll do the R88 points and pass
Oh, yeah,
through,
we
so we
need
can
them.
put those on the LSUR layout.
Yes, we do need them for the
Because
southern
there
layout.
was no point getting the R72 one, given that it wouldn't be able to go anywhere.
Yes, good point. And also, you can't win it anyway because you're organising,
Exactly.
so you can't.
Which is why you're giving me 200 euros to spend anyway.
No. Miller.
Unlike you, selfish gits, I would donate mine to an unprivileged child.
Oh, would you now?
Ooh, get out. No.
But the
Lego
twist
isn't for
is-
children.
The twist is that because he has no money, he'll never be able to afford to put anything on it.
Oh my god. Okay. Yes.
I think we
good.
might have to cut that bit out or we're going to get cancelled.
No, I think we'll be fine because nobody listens to this podcast. Okay. Okay. So, if you don't want to speak, can you put your hand down? Grace, do you still want to speak?
You're muted, Trace.
He's walking his dogs, isn't he? He does that.
No, I'm here. What's up? What happened?
Did you want to speak, or do you still have your hand up?
I don't know what you're talking about.
We were saying if you won the $200 from the whoever it was, what would you use it on?
Oh yeah, I would use it to donate to a young misprivileged child who can't afford real Lego trains. Because
I just bloody said that.
I
Yeah,
said it. Enjoy, underprivileged child. Enjoy.
You
It's
hear
up
that,
to you,
Henry?
then,
Two
wouldn't-
people are willing to donate to you.
Oh. What?
Oh, don't tell me nobody heard that.
It's running smooth as usual. So
Ah.
that was kind of the end of the questions because we'll do a follow-up podcast once winners have been announced and things like that. So any members have some questions they want to ask other members at the moment?
Who
Oh, God.
out of our that went well. Who out of our members do you think will do the best? Not necessarily win, but get the most votes. And why?
Ooh, I think I know.
I think it might be Trace because I've seen a lot of entries from Trace. So by sheer quantity, he's got a good
Statistically,
chance.
he might win.
Because
enough
like Joe
entry.
has entered some very lovely. I think Joe's entered 1 or 2 models, which they're very lovely. But Trace has entered many, many models that are all very good.
I
So
had
I
a
think Trace might win that by default through quantitative easing.
It's almost like our Lego Train Club has some talented members who can build trains and things. It's weird.
Oh,
I
we've got
don't know
new
why they
people.
joined us.
Except Miller, obviously.
Oh, get.
Miller's what keeps the average curve.
Okay, any more questions for members? Or any more comments from members?
What are we all working on right now?
A
Lego
better model to
trains.
win the competition.
Ooh, coaches and other stuff, and yeah. But I got to get paid first.
Levi's angled his camera towards this Inglenook layout, which is definitely going to be ready for Spa Valley Model Railway, isn't it?
I thought it was already finished.
Is a layout ever finished, really? No.
No,
No, when-
because you're always breaking part of it.
When people say
Ideally.
Inglenook is finished, it's actually a threat. Like, yeah, your Inglenook is finished.
It does sound a bit like
Levi,
that. Yes,
is that another precariously thin building that's going to collapse?
yes,
It's
I
like-
built that one.
It's like the
Surprisingly.
worst. It's like the worst version of the Ghostbusters firehouse I've ever seen.
Thanks, Miller.
Well,
I've just finished my new section of the LSUR layout, which is a bit disappointing because of the lack of our 88 points and pass-throughs. But yeah, it's got a very nice signal box built by Matt, a coaling stage and water tower built by Tim, and the rest of it is fairly simple because we really want those points.
Because we let you build it is why it's simple. Is that why?
Yeah, because I didn't have much money to spend on it, and it took all the money to spend on it, and it used up most of the parts I was saving for my shunting layout, which is really annoying.
Fair
So I really
enough.
wanted to start on that, and then I'm also simultaneously working on both the hopper wagons and the loader and unloader for them, which all work mostly. I just don't have the parts to build a full thing.
Mhm.
Which is really disappointing because I really want to.
Oh well.
And
I
also
have-
my automated loco, which
yes,
people
that'd
will
be
have
fun.
seen at Acton. I've got a test chassis of that.
We'll try and get a separate
somewhere
video
in
of
my
that
pile
working.
mess. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that would be good. Looking forward to that at Spa.
So I have sections of the northern layout to finish, hopefully before members weekend, with Lewis as well. I can see Rory's
Ooh.
waving, and I can see, I think Micah was first. So Micah,
I on September 5th, because I haven't been home since I'm in college, but my recent locomotive, the USA Tank, Southern USA Tank, is done and all lined and all good. Posted to Brick Train Awards, but yeah, I'm really proud of that model. I'm just
it's really cool, really nice.
the way I built it. I was just like, well, I want a detailed boiler, I want detailed sides, and so I just went ahead and did it, and it is motorized. So
I
yeah,
think so. When I first saw the entry, I assumed it was going to be quite like the Block Junction one.
I was inspired by Will's model, but
But you've gone for quite a different technique for the
Yeah.
like the USA Tank. The very distinctive bit is the angled sides on the tanks.
yes, and I use plates stacked rather than just having it actual bricks. So that took me a few afternoons to get built, but yeah.
It works really well. Really nice model. Well
Yeah,
done.
thank you.
Rory, I think you were waving at the camera before, weren't you?
Yeah, I was just going to say that I'm working on the other part of the southern layout corner, which hopefully won't be simple, but definitely isn't finished, and is currently lying in pieces after Emily decided to pick it up and try and move it, and it collapsed. But other than that, it's all fine.
Oh, Emily.
Ooh.
It definitely
Shocking.
will be ready for Spa, probably, maybe.
Fair enough.
Probably.
You've got like a week and a half. That's
I'll be fine. I've got at
fine.
least 2 days at home. I'll be fine. I'm fine.
Okay, I can see Renzo's got his hand up now, and then we'll probably move on after that.
Yes, I'm working on my train station still. I have ordered some extra parts and a new point for double point for the end layout, but I also bought the Diagon Alley because I had some money left over that I wanted to spend on the Hogwarts Express, but obviously did not. I'm also lighting up all my brake fence at the moment, and some cars and stuff, and all the technical shit to get it all done. Yeah, so
There's always some work to do. Yeah, that's true.
No, you're sure. What's it like to have extra money?
It's not possible with the Lego hobby, is it? There's no such thing as extra money.
What
I'm
is
Wasted
job?
Lego budget.
I manage it.
Ah,
Get paid, and then it all goes away.
Oh, that
Okay.
sounds
The trick
nice.
is
buy swords.
to make your whole layout and all the locos you need before your country leaves the European Union.
Unfortunately, I'm too young
must
for
hurry
that
up
to have
then.
been I didn't
planning.
get a vote.
Okay.
Wanna join England?
Here's the Jim Miller. You can't ever finish your layout, so
I mean,
Also true.
I
It's never
have.
finished.
It's done.
Okay. No, I can give you a list of stuff you need to improve. Okay, let's move on. Last question, and then we're going to wrap up. What I've just thought of actually is, who do you think is going to win the public vote? So the public vote category
Miller.
is never. The public
If
vote
I entered.
category. The public vote category is basically anybody who has entered but hasn't won another category. The person who has the most likes on Facebook and Instagram. We were going to do Twitter as well, but there's some discrepancies on what we posted on Twitter, and I can't work out where it is at the moment. So it's kind of an extra chance to win. I think it's quite fun. Renzo.
Yes, I think it's going to be Seth Briggs, because
Hopefully.
he's building beautiful things, but he's only doing it digital, and because of the King class trace build is beautiful. His one is also beautiful, but I still think if it comes up to winning, real builds are always better. They are comparable, but then I always prefer the real build ones, and I also think he lacks some kind of originality, because it's a lot of similarity in things we already know. So, but on the other hand, the way he builds digitally, he's really good. So I would really,
He's really talented.
yeah,
I presume
would
it's a
love-
he. I think it is.
I would like to see him win something, and I guess he doesn't. He's not going to win in a category, so give him
I
that.
think he possibly could win in the digital loco category, but I'm not a judge this year, so
Okay.
I don't know. I would probably put his stuff quite high up. Trace, you're waving at the camera like a madman.
If it's the popular vote, I think Renzo's got the right idea. Seth Bricht is on a lot of different platforms, and he's very active with sharing his renders. So he has a nice following, and well-deservedly so, based on his quality.
Mhm.
So I see him being the popular vote winner. I can get behind that.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good pick, actually. I imagine it's going to be a loco or a display that wins, and possibly not a digital one. But we'll see in 2 weeks. Luke, you've got your hand up, and then Micah.
Well, for the public votes, this is going to be a very cheesy answer. I really hope it's me because I have a YouTube channel with over 3,800 subscribers and I'm trying to push them towards the social media pages to go like my stuff. It's not really working, but I mean, I'm trying my best. I mean, I don't really win anything anyways, but if it works and I get a couple of hundred, then at least that's something.
You shill for it, Luke.
I mean, I don't. It's not going to work because I've already made the post saying, "Yeah, I've entered the awards. Go like my post so I can win at least the public favorites." But it's not going to work.
We'll see. Okay. Miller.
What was the question again? Who we think's going to win the public vote?
Who we think's going to win the public vote, which is basically
Charles.
I think it will probably be one of Trace's.
Oh, he does have quite a big following, apparently.
He does.
I've never heard of him, but you know.
I believe that his millions and millions of bees all have accounts, and that's why he gets so many votes.
It's quite possible. Yeah, he's sneaky like that. Gets you with the bees.
Yes.
Very true.
I humbly say that it's anyone's race.
Okay, well, I guess we'll see in the follow-up podcast and the winners announcement and stuff like that. Okay, so that's the end of the questions. We can do a quick wrap-up. Luke, I think you had something to say briefly.
Yeah, so this is fascinating because when it was originally announced that the Brick Train Awards were going to be happening at the tail end of the year, I kind of seized an opportunity to host a Lego Train Awards of my own. And when the process began of kind of making this, the graphics, the categories, getting the prizes organized, it became a very big realization of what goes into the Brick Train Awards. Obviously, if anybody took part or at least saw the awards that I did, it's nowhere near on the scale of the BTAs. So even if you don't win anything, but your post of your model online gets a couple of likes and people are talking about it, it's definitely worth showing some appreciation to the people who are putting the Brick Train Awards together, and especially for their ability to get sponsors and prizes for all of the winners. So yeah, it's just from that bit of experience from earlier in the year, it's definitely been eye-opening as to what it really takes to put something like this together. So a massive congratulations to the Brick Train Awards team for being able to go ahead with this as well.
Thanks, Luke. That was really nice. I suppose I organise it, but there's also Enrico from Lowlands Model Train Club in the Netherlands, and Henry and Levi in LNUR have been helping me. Sorry, LSUR, LUKR, whatever you are these days.
LNUR.
LSUR, LSUR,
God.
LSUR.
So they've been helping out.
LNUR, that
They've been
includes
helping
all-
out in the background too, and it's kind of taken a bit of the load off, which has been nice. So thank you very much to them. Thank you also to Brick Train Award sponsors again. So Trick Bricks, so the global winners, 200 times 15. Henry, what's that?
3,000.
I think that was a bit slow, wasn't it? I think he's falling over on the maths facts.
No, I just had to unmute.
He was just at it. I think he was adding up on his fingers or something.
No,
So
I was
3,000.
busy. I was busy looking up the maths facts for
It was a
later in
hard
the
one, I
podcast
guess.
that Chris wanted, so I had
So-
to swap over and unmute.
So $3,000 in prizes from Trick Bricks is really generous, and it's nice they're supporting this community event for us. Also, thank you to Trained Bricks, who do rods and wheels in the US, which are compatible. It's just nice that community members are getting involved and supporting us again. Thank you. Entries are open until midnight in your time zone on the 30th of September 2022. Please enter through the website. We have had people emailing entries. We can't accept those. It's all through the website. It has taken a lot of effort out of the admin side of stuff and posting stuff, which is really good. So that's about it for the Brick Train Awards side of things. We have some upcoming shows as a club here in the UK. So if you want to come and see one or more of our layouts, we're at the Spa Valley Model Railway Show at the end of September. Levi, when's the date? Levi is just shrugging at the camera at the moment. I think it's something like the
So far away.
It's the
24th and
24th and 25th.
24th and 25th of September, so about 10 days from now. We'll have the Southern Club there, Levi's Inglenut puzzle, if you want to come and have a go. And there's also some other non-Lego trains, so who cares about those?
There's also some
Um,
real trains.
Yeah, who cares about those? It's Lego trains, doesn't matter. And we've also got Steam, which is the Great Western Brick Show, which is a brickish event at Steam Museum in Swindon. And I think that's the 1st and 2nd of October, if I've got the dates right. So we'll have the club layout there, and I think Levi's layout, Inglenut is signed up again. Paul Robinson's lovely Swindon layouts there. Loads of other members are there. So that'll be a really good one. Come and say hello to us if you can. And a final thank you to members in the podcast. So Miller, I suppose, if we have to. Levi, who's going to be editing this podcast and probably hates all of the edits he's going to have to do. Henry, Luke, Rory, Micah, John, Renzo, and Trace. And just a last minute plea. So the public vote is based on number of likes on Facebook and Instagram. So if you really love a model and think it should win, please go through all the entries on Instagram and Facebook that have been posted and give it a like or a love or something like that. And hopefully, you know, some of the builders are going to win because you've done that. So thank you very much. We'll be back with another podcast and also an announcement of winners for some award ceremony. I don't know, at some point. And that is about it. Thank you and see you again.
Bye.
Bye.